I mean, I could talk just a little bit about onshore detention, so the detention centres here. So you probably know that there's 2 detention centres here in Melbourne. One's at Broadmeadows and one's at Maribyrnong, Maidstone. The one at Maidstone's supposed to be closing, but there's still about 100 men in there, only men. They're built on to the one at Broadmeadows, so it's quite extensive now. And it's in sections. So there's Avon, and then there's Bass 1 and Bass 2, and then there's housing down the back. And people don't mix with each other at all. So you get your food brought in, you go to the doctor at a particular time so that you don't cross paths with anybody from the next section who goes. It's all segmented. So people don't see each other except if they come to the visitor centre together. That's the only time when you might run into somebody. So there's people who actually live together on Christmas Island or whatever. All they guess that, or they know in some cases, that such and such a person is there, but they can't meet up with them. They can't see them. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. Visiting the centre, I mainly go to Broadmeadows, although I do have one person in the other place now that I'm trying to go a bit more regularly to see. But it's terribly difficult. If you want to see more than one person at a time, you've got to put in an application that takes 10 days to get processed. And then at the end of that 10 days, that only gives you permission to apply. It doesn't give you permission to go. You've got to put in the names of the people you want to see, and it's a permission then to apply. So then you've got to apply for each one of these separately. That's another 5 days. So, I mean, you nearly have changed your mind by the end of the time when you get permission to actually go. Even if you only want to see one person, you've got to put in 5 days ahead. And I tried yesterday, I think it was, and I was about an hour over time. I had the 5 days, but I was about an hour over time. And the blinking form, you've got to do it online, and the form wouldn't go. I mean, it's so structured that the form doesn't go through. So it just said you can't proceed because your time is not within the 5 days required. Oh, it's enough to make you weep, really. And when you do get there, you've got to go through drug testing things, which were testing positive for people who know. I mean, you'd laugh if you could see who the people who were tested positive for drugs were. Elderly people and just people. You just couldn't add these people together and say they're likely to be on drugs. But I think they have sort of fixed it up a bit so it's less sensitive or whatever. But you can only take in food that's sealed. If it's been opened at all, you can't take it in. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful rules. So just visiting people is extraordinarily difficult. Yeah.